Okay, we're gonna pick it right back up for part three. We're gonna keep on rolling with this thing. Let's get ourselves together. Oh, my class. All right. Let's see. We're gonna look at another thing that we're gonna try to see, get some understanding about. Now, see Galatians 3 and 8. Now, this is my question. They already know. I see. This is where the trickery comes in. Because the Galatians 3 is in the scriptures foreseeing that Elohim would justify the heathen through faith, because remember, they got to go through faith. Hebrews by faith, preached before the gospel unto Abraham, saying, in these shall all nations be blessed. So they got to go, they got to follow the covenant basically as well. They have to, there's no doubt about it, but they don't want to. And a lot of them do hate the commandments, and they got you hating the commandments, but otherwise they're robbers. We're going to show you that. But see, point I'm trying to make is all they have to do is where it's Israel, they could just say Ephraim, instead of Gentile. And then where it's the heathen, they should just say like they say in here, heathen. But they're not doing that. See, it's where they want to put it at. Because that's really, that would just solve all the problems and you wouldn't have to be confused and do all this digging. See, a race has the same inhabitant, right? A tribe, specifically, or especially a foreign, non-Jewish one, usually by implication, pagan, Gentile, heathen nation people, right? But we can't be confused by this non-Jewish, because ain't the thing is, this trickery never stops. Sometime it could be this though. We're gonna look at a multitude, because this multitude is actually a code word. And we're going to show you what I mean. Company, troop, small multitude of individuals, the same nature, a genus. All right. All right. So we've looked at this a few times, but this word ethnos, they seem to keep doing that. But again, usually when you see this, you're gonna think, we should know who it is. But again, we got to dig it out to go find this word heathen. When that's all they had to do, everywhere they was talking about the heathen, put the word heathen. And everywhere they talking about Israel, say Ephraim. But no, they don't want to do that. Then they want to try to put the 1486 on it, like the ethnos. So now sometimes it's interchangeable. No, it's not interchangeable. We showed you got to use tools to go find the answer. Because one thing I like about the Peshitta, if you a heathen, they're gonna say heathen, and peoples. If you a Hebrew that's lost, then they're gonna say that. These people is playing games. Now, this word a, also a word of rare use in Attic prose, but occurring between 1 and 2,000 times in the Septuagint. Is almost always there a title reserved for the elect people of Israel, of Elohim. See, 1484, Gentiles, ethnos, sometimes it's going to say Greeks. But if you don't go look it up, you're not going to know who they're talking about. The answer is there. You just got to go find it. A race of nations sometimes goy because Israel was scattered amongst the nations. We just said that. They were surrounded by them. And even the people off the other nations, some of these other nations, like these Idumeans and the enemies, was taught the ways of our fathers, and then they end up taking over everything, like they still doing now. Got you go over there sending money to help them out, and you need help right here and can't get it. Your president sending billions of dollars over there to his leaders, because that's what it's all about. He ain't nothing but a figurehead. Y'all running around here now with this voting stuff, man. Like that really matters. Everyone that's there is a puppet, a good actor. Whoever can act the best and they can control, that's who they gonna put in office. Your vote don't mean nothing. Now, let's look at this. Acts 11 and 18. When they heard these things, they held their peace and glorified Yahweh, saying, then has Yahweh also to the Gentiles granted repentance to life. Because this is what it's talking about. It's talking about the Hebrews, not the heathen. Now they which were scattered abroad upon the persecution that arose about Stephen, they which were what scattered abroad, he's telling you, traveled as far as Phoenice, Cyprus, Antioch, preaching the word to none but unto the Jews only. Folks weren't going to no heathens, and some of them were men of Cyprus, see, of a woman of Samaria. men of Cyprus, men of Cyrene, which when they were come to Antioch, speaking to the what? The Grecians. See, they'll say, see, he spoke to the Grecians. Again, this is going right back. If you go look this up, we're gonna look at it, preaching the Yahushua Mashiach. They ain't preaching this to no heathens. They preaching this to who he told them to go, because they obeyed their master, like some of us don't. And the hand of Yahweh was with them, and great number believe and turn into Yahweh. The same thing that they did when the Mashiach was in Samaria, talking to his lost sheep. They came, they heard, he stayed there. This ain't got nothing to do with nobody else, but they got you believing that. And when some of us think we Gentiles now. And when these words they had heard, were silent and praised Allah and said, now also unto the Gentiles, Allah has given repentance unto life. Notice with the Aramaic, when you're a heathen, it's called you a heathen. And when you're of Israel, it says Gentiles. Or in the Strongs, it says Hellenized. That's why I like these other books. You gotta go. You gotta do the research, and Yah has made it possible for you to do that. Books older than the King James version, because I mean this. It's just this King James that they got jacked all up. And for us that just don't do no research or don't nobody's told about these other tools, that's what blew my mind. I ran into a good friend of mine I hadn't seen since we was going to the Holiness Church back when I was like 16. I ran into him in the line. He big old church, the whole thing. Pulled me in his office. We hugged up, dapped up, laughing and talking. Looked up at his library. He got Strong's concordances and all kind of stuff. But then listen to the message he was kicking out. It's the same save, sanctify. I'm like, man, how could you do that when you have the tools? It's crazy. You got to teach people how to do these things. Acts 1 and 4. And being assembled together with them, commanded them that they should not depart from Jerusalem, but wait for the promise of the Father, which says, he have heard of me. Now, again, I got to break this down again. It's the apostles, he blew his breath on them, hit them with the Spirit. Then they were supposed to go to Jerusalem and wait for the promise of the Ruach HaKodesh. But the rest of the people that was there, they was keeping the feast of Pentecost. Acts 2 and 1. And when the day of Pentecost was fully come, they were all with one accord in one place. The term Pentecost comes from the Greek Pentecoste, meaning 50th. It refers to the Hebrew festival celebrated on the 50th day after first fruits, also known as the Feast of Weeks and the Feast of 50 Days. So this is why they was there. And we're going to show you something. See, all the rest of them, again, the apostles were there to get this gift, and because y'all played this thing out perfectly. But then you had the others that came from all over. Let's see where they came from. Exodus 2, and now let's look at this. Also, you shall observe the feast of the harvest of the first fruits of your labors from what you sow in the field. Also, the feast of the ingathering at the end of the year, when you gather in the fruit of your labors from the field. Numbers 28 and 6. Also on the day of the first fruits, when you present a new grain offering to Yahweh in your feast of weeks, you shall have a holy convocation. You shall do no laborious work. It's a high day. See? Big feast. 3 times a year shall all the males appear before Yahweh thy Elohim in the place which he shall choose, in the feast of unleavened bread, and in the feast of weeks, which is this, and in the feast of tabernacles, and they shall not appear before him empty. Now, let's look at this. If a foreigner, stranger, or heathen resides with you and wants to celebrate Yahuwah's Passover, all the males in the household must be circumcised, right? This is according to Yahuwah. This is the covenant that he made with Abraham, one part of the covenant that he made with Abraham. It has to happen. So again, when we get to the dietary series and we see that these apostles came up with their own thing, then he may they don't have to do that right now. Come on, man. Then he may come near to celebrate it. That's that dogma. And he shall be like a native of the land, but no uncircumcised man may eat of it. The same law shall apply to both the native and the heathen who resides among you. Because remember, Israel, they first. You want the answers, you got to go. You want the oracles, you got to go to them. But they don't want to do that either. See? Then all the Israelites did this. They did just as Yahweh commanded Moses and Aaron. So that means today it still holds true. You can't say that's for the Jews. This whole book is for the Jews. The whole history is about the history of Israel. Ain't got nothing to do with no strangers. And this is what bothers a lot of people. A lot of these scholars. And some of them might just be quiet. Some of them other ones try to figure out. They man, it's people that sit up, man, bunches of them, and just go through these book all over this, do all this type of, I mean, trying to find a way in besides what the Mashiach said. But they know who you are and they know what's going on. Whether they accept it or not, that's up to them. Now, and there were dwellings at Jerusalem, Jews, devout men. We've seen this word before, so we know these are ones that keeping the commandments out of every nation under heaven. Because see, again, they all had to travel there. Now, when this was because of the feast, noise abroad, the multitude came together and were confounded because that every man heard them speak in his own language. So that's the other reason why they told him to go, because he's trying now. Yahoo was trying to do something. He's trying to show them something. And they were all amazed and marveled, saying one to another, Behold, are not all these which speak Galileans? And how hear we every man in our own tongue when we were born? Parthians, see, this is where they was born. Parthians, Medes, Elamites, the dwellers in Mesopotamia and Judea, Cappadocia, Pontus, Asia, Phrygia, Pamphylia, Egypt, and in the parts of Libya about Cyrene, and strangers of Rome. Jews and proselytes. So they was there too. The heathens that had understanding, they was like, look, man, we done got past all this prejudice stuff. We done got past we accept the truth and it is what it is. And we want to be with Yahweh too. So we gonna be there because we know about this. We've been studying. Okay? Cretes and Arabians, we do hear them speaking out tongues, the wonderful works of Elohim. See, and from the land of Phrygia and of Pamphylia and Metzgreen, and the regions of Libya, neighboring upon Cyrene, and those who come from Rumai, Jehudoi, and or Judah, proselytes, Giri or Goy. This is who they is. They was here too. So they understand this. A lot of people, that's for them. We have this now. No, you don't. Y'all ain't changed nothing. Because if he did, he would be evil. How could he do that? Well, back here, this is what it has to be. But now, you don't have to do that no more. Okay, but then what about all the people that he killed and persecuted for not doing? Like, come on, now, he don't play like that. That's men's minds. Now, the stranger, a sojourner, a temporary inhabitant, a newcomer, lacking inherited rights, because ain't no covenant. But they can inherit salvation. All they got to do is do what the chosen people supposed to do. For of foreigners in Israel, though conceded rights, right? Sometime you'll see this. G24 246, alufas, alaf ulos, foreign, Gentile, one of another nation, when using Hellenistic Greek and opposed to a Jew. See? Because why? Because they was opposed to each other. Because they remember this hatred goes all the way back to David. It signifies a Gentile. A lost Hebrew or Hellenized equals a brainwash or culture that is forgotten. Because these people is brainwashed to think they're Americans. I mean, to think that they somebody else. Brainwashed to think that they Britain. I mean, British. Anyway, these people are just brainwashed opposed to a Jew because they had a hatred. We're going to show you this. Proselyte, proselytos, a newcomer, a stranger, an alien, a proselyte, one who has come over from a Gentile religion to, it says Judaism. Of course, they're going to say that because they still got tricks. All you had to say is one who has come over from paganism to worship Yahweh or to Hebrews, to religion of the Hebrews. But no, they still got to keep coming up with these lies because they hate you and they don't want you to figure it out. But there's one thing about it, Ruach ain't gonna lie. She gonna give you everything you need. You just gotta try. Now, proselytes only mentioned 4 times in the New Testament are the proselytes. These are the places you can find this. The word proselyte is a transliteration of the Greek word proselytos, which means a stranger or foreigner. These are non-Jews, what we would call today Gentiles that have joined Israel and follow Yahuwah and his teaching. The Greek word proselytos is used in the Septuagint to translate the Hebrew word gayer. We just saw that, which also means a stranger. We just saw that. We just saw that right here. It's right there. A non-Israelite, it was not uncommon for foreigners, Gerim or Goy, to join Israel, and many of them came out of Egypt with Israel. It was a mixed multitude. So again, it's all here. The congregation reborn in Acts chapter 2, a shadow picture of Jeremiah 31:31 and Ezekiel 36, 26 and 27. But we got to dig this stuff out. We can't be lazy. Amen. Sons of Israel, hear these words. Yeshu Natsaroi, the man who from Aloha appeared with you with powers and mighty acts, which Aloha wrought among you by his hand, even as you know. This is an Acts. But then again, this is the Septuagint. See, again, it's the Septuagint. Now, Acts 11 and 20. Let's look at this thing. Remember the Grecians? And it said to the Grecians too. Okay, a Hellenist, one who imitates the manners and custom of worship of the Greeks and use the Greek word, using the New Testament of Jews born in foreign lands and speaking Greek. So when you go to Acts 11 and 20, when he says the Grecians, you've been tricked to think that this is talking about the heathen, and it's not. It's just some brainwashed Hebrews. Period. Now, but of them were men of Cyprus and Cyrene. These entered into Antiochia or Antioch and discouraged with the Jaboni and evangelized concerning our sovereign Yahusha. Acts 6, and in those days the disciples being many, Javoni, the disciples murmured against the Embroyi because their widows were slightly in daily ministration. And in those days, when the number of disciples were much multiplied, there arose a murmuring of the Grecians against the Hebrews because their widows were neglected in the daily ministration. So again, we see the Hebrews, we see Judah and Ephraim arguing again. See, but you've been told that these was Grecians here. And they waiting on tables. Come on, man. Just like you is today. You in there. Well, I can't say that no more because since Yah did the thing he did, and he said he gonna make the women have more power over a man. It's like these sisters now they ain't waiting tables no more because they doctors, this and that. But the sad part is, I hope they can really find out this information. Otherwise, because most of them is usually deceived by their degree that they got from Esau, and it's just a small degree. That's why it's called a degree of learning. But again, it is what it is. And the scriptures foreseeing that Elohim would justify the heathen. So we went through this. Just want to put this up here again, and you're going to see why. Because we got to remember this word multitude, company, swarm, a swarm, right? Let's look at this now. So we see here, let's go to Genesis 49 and 18. Sure hate my fingers finna kick out. But Genesis 49 and 18, let's get here. Let me show y'all something else really interesting. Again, I don't have a lot of different graphics and all that, and I don't have all that, but what I do got, you can learn something up here. Without all the different lights and the moving parts and little movie thing, I mean, it's okay. That's what y'all gave some people to do. That ain't what he gave me to do. I had waited for my salvation, O Yahuwah. Gad, a troop shall overcome him, but he shall overcome at last, right? So we see here we're getting Melo Hagoi, multitude of nations, right? All right, let's go to Romans 11:25. Just gotta search this stuff out. It ain't really that hard. It just takes a little time. But and my thing is, I always notice once you start doing stuff with Yah, and I was roll. You don't even be counting the time no more. 25 through 26. For I would not, brethren, that you should be ignorant of this mystery, that you should be wise in your own conceits, which we definitely don't want to do, that blindness in part has happened to Israel until the fullness of the Gentiles be come in. See, their time is almost up. And so all Israel shall be saved, spiritual, as it is written, there shall come out of Zion the deliverer and shall turn away ungodliness from Jacob. Right? I can go to Isaiah 49 and see that. I can go to Isaiah 42, 1 through 4. For this is my covenant unto them when I shall take away their sins. So, I mean, it's going to happen. So it's a fulfilling keeping, right? In the New Testament, the body of believers as that which is filled with presence of power, agency, riches of Elohim and of Christ. So we see this word melo, hagoi, right? Fullness, that which fullness, handful, mass, multitude, fullness, right? Brown driver bricks tell us literary, figuratively, fullness, right? Full, multitude. Come over here to 1471. We're going to get Goy. We've been looking at that all day, all morning. Etymology and grammar from 1465. Nation of people, usually of non-Hebrew people, swarm, locust, goyim, nations, in the sense of massing, foreign nation, hence a Gentile, also figuratively a troop of animals, or see, again, now let's go. Now, so when we look at this here, Genesis 48:16, let's go back, let's break this down. We can see what the Mashiach was doing. The Mashiach was cold, boy. Boy, he was something else. I say he always came at you at the side level. Let's look at 48:16. It says that the messenger which redeemed me from all evil, bless the lads, and let their name be named on them in the name of my fathers Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and let them grow into a multitude in the midst of the earth. So when we look at this word grow, it's the Hebrew word dagah, to become numerous, grow, to be a multitude, right? And let them grow. Now, when we break it down from 1711, dagah, to become numerous, grow, multitude, from 1710, dagah, which equals fish, numerous, a swarm, you know what I mean? A school of fish. So Ephraim is to multiply, let them grow as fish in the earth, because he's going to be all over the place. Let's go to Matthew 4. See, the Mashiach be knowing who he after. You just gotta figure it out. And he gonna let you figure it out if you search it, but you can't just sit there and come up with some type of philosophy that ain't got nothing to do with him. Matthew 4. Where am I at? Oh, here we go. Then was Yahshua lit up of the spirit into the wilderness to be tempted of Hasatan. All right, we're gonna jump down a little bit. We're gonna go okay, now let's go to verse 12, because we got to pick this back up. Because remember, when he had heard that John was cast into prison, he departed into Galilee. We've already understood this. And leaving Nazareth, he came and dwelt in Capernaum, which is upon the sea coast and in the borders of Zebulun and Naphtali, right? That it might be fulfilled, which was spoken by Isaiah the prophet, saying, the land of Zebulun and the land of Nephilim, by the way of the sea, beyond Jordan, Galilee of the Gentiles. The people which sat in darkness saw a great light, and to them which sat in the region and shadow of the death, light is sprung up. From that time, Yahshua began to preach and say, repent, for the king. Here we go again. And Yahshua, walking by the Sea of Galilee, saw two brethren, Simon called Peter, Andrew his brother, casting a net into the sea, for they were fishers. What? And he said unto them, follow me, and I will make thee fishers of men. And they straightway left their nets and followed him. So here he is by the seashore, right? And well, when we break down this thing, fisher is G number 2251. It means salt. So he's coming to the salt of the earth to go out and catch Ephraim, because he got fishers to catch the swarm of fish. You are the salt of the earth, Matthew 5:13. So this is what it is. This is who Ephraim is. They fish. So he got fishers to catch the fish. And this is why he sent them to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. He sent them to Ephraim. See, but you've been told all kinds of stuff. It's got to be to use your inner linears, and you might get in the spirit gonna give you this stuff, man. This stuff ain't hard. So Acts 9 and 15, but Yahuwah said to him, go thy way, for he is a chosen vessel unto me to bear my name before the Gentiles and kings and the children of Israel. Well, so who are these people? And this is Paul. So here we got the Gentiles, those who forgot Torah. Acts 13, 32. Let's go there. See, they forgot Torah. That's like we is today. I ain't want to hear nothing about no Torah, man. Torah. Yeah, that's some Jewish stuff. Nah, buddy, that's for you. 32 through 46. And it says, and we declared unto you glad tidings how that the promise which was made unto our father, Elohim have fulfilled the same unto us, their children, and that he hath raised up Yahshua again. And it is also written in the second Psalm, thou art my son, this day have I begotten thee. That's the adoption. And as concerning that he raised him from the dead, now no more to return to corruption. He can't. He said, unto this wise I will give you the sure mercies of David. Wherefore, he says also in another psalm that thou shalt not suffer thine Holy One to see corruption. We know his body was not corrupted. See, these are those who forgot Torah. For David, after he had served his own generation by the will of Elohim, fell on sleep and was laid into his fathers and saw corruption. But he whom Elohim raised again saw no corruption. Be it known unto you, therefore, men and brethren, that through his man is preached unto you the forgiveness of sin. See, through the Mashiach. And by him all that believe are justified from all things, from which you could not be justified by the law of Moses. Beware, therefore, why? Because you had the book of the law that was on your back now. Beware, therefore, lest that come upon you, which is spoken of in the prophets, corruption. Behold, the despisers and wonders and perish, for I work a work in your days, a work which you shall in no wise believe, though a man declared unto you. And when the Jews were gone out of the synagogue, the Gentiles besought that these words be preached unto them the next Shabbat. See, again, it did not say proselytes, it did not say stranger. It's talking about these are the Hebrews. Now, when the congregation was broken up, many of the Jews and religious proselytes, see, now, why would it say up here Gentile and down? It's letting you know what's going on. Followed by Paul and Barnabas, who speaking to them persuaded them to continue in the grace of Elohim. And the next Sabbath, they came almost the whole city together to hear the word of Elohim. But when the Pharisees saw the multitude, they were filled with envy and spake against those things which were spoken by Paul, contradicting the blasphemy. See, this is what they're doing now. Then Paul and Barnabas waxed bold and said it was necessary that the word of Elohim should first have been spoken to you, because to Israel first. But seeing you put it from you and judge yourself unworthy of everlasting life, lo, return to the Gentile. See, people take this, well, see, right here, this is what it's talking about. See, this is the problem. This is not talking about no proselyte. This is not talking about no heathen. Okay, y'all don't want this, then guess what? We're gonna go to the house of Israel. And so the children of Israel, those who had Torah, but excuse me, not Mashiach. Go to Acts 17, 1 through 5. I say, I don't have a lot of graphics and all that, but I got something for you. Come up here. Now, when they had passed through Amphipolis and Apollonia, I remember Prince named his girlfriend after that, they came to Thessalonica, where was a synagogue of the Jews. And Paul, as a manner was, went into them, and 3 Sabbath days reasoned with them out of the scriptures. Look, I'm trying to talk to you imposters. Leave that Mishnah alone. Leave the Talmud alone. You need the Mashiach. Opening and alleging that Christ much needs has suffered and risen again from the dead, and that Yahshua, whom I preach unto you, is the Christ. He is the Mashiach. And some of them believe and consorted with Paul and Silas, and of the devout Greeks, a great multitude, and of the chief women, not a few. Again, it's saying it's going to say the same thing. It didn't say out of devout proselytes. It didn't say out of devout heathens. See, and then that word multitude, we just looked at that. Because you're going to see every time he comes to them, and the multitude did this, and the multitude sat at his feet. The multitude, that's a code word. You got to understand these things. See, let's look at this now. Acts 13, 32 through 46, right? We're looking at G number 1486 to be accustomed, use, want. G number 2478, Israel equals he shall be a prince of Elohim, the name given to the patriarch Jacob, and born by him in addition to his former name, the family of descendants of Israel, the nation of Israel. Because remember, his name was changed, right? So this is all about Israel. I'm sorry, but it is. Acts 19 and 10. And this continued by the space of 2 years, so that all that which dwelt in Asia heard the word of the sovereign Yahshua, both Jews and Greeks. Jewish as respect to birth, origin, religion. Greeks, in a wider sense, the name embraces all nations, not Jews, because they was not Jews. They were what? They were from the house of Israel that made the language, custom, and learning of the Greeks their own. The primary references to a difference of religion and worship because they was doing other stuff. They was considered unclean. 1671, Greek, unstable, the miry one. Huh? Who's the miry one? Who's mixed up? Who's a cake half turned? Let's find out. Because this is what this means here, right? This here, both Jews and Greeks. So he's going to house of Israel, who is Ephraim, and he's the miry one. Remember, before we found out he's a drunkard. He likes to drink, right? We go way back to even the town they stayed in when the women at the well. It was called the town of drunks or the town of drunkenness. Okay, let's keep rolling. Isaiah 28:1, woe to the crown of pride, to the drunkards of it. Wait a minute. Whose glorious beauty is a fading fire, which are on the head of the fat valleys of them that are overcome with wine. So this joker like wine. They was known, they stayed in the city for that called drunkard. And here it is, they like that wine. Like Brother Saul like that wine. I just can't have it because it makes me do stupid stuff. 1671, Greek, unstable, the miry one, convert. Now, what we did was we went ahead and used our trusty, dusty New Testament Greek to Hebrew dictionary, and we converted it back. So the same word Greek, the same word here, the miry one, right? Greek, we converted back from the Greek into the Hebrew, and it came up with 3120. Yain. Why? It's him. It's Ephraim. It's the cake half turned. The one that likes this wine. He stays in the city of drunkards. Ephraim, he have mixed himself among the people. Ephraim is a cake not turned. From H1101, Balal, to mix oneself among others tempered or murky. Anybody that eats that's a cook, a good chef, you know what tempering is. It's when you take something cold and you trying to force it into something hot. So you got to slowly pour it in there. You got to slowly temper it until it becomes murky. It becomes mixed. And this is what Ephraim is. And he like that wine. That's how we can find him. Because he's overcome with wine. He's overcome with wine. Let's go all the way back because I got to make sure y'all see this. Where you at, girl? I know you're here somewhere. And then here it is, the city of Samaria, which is called Sychar or Sychar, is drunken. So it's Ephraim. You know what I mean? But we got to do this, the kind of stuff we got to do for you to get the full picture in your mind. Because we trying to help. We ain't trying to hurt nobody. We ain't trying to step on no feet. But I mean, these are some winehead fish, some fish. Let's see. So I want to remind you again, Shekar, drunken, probably another name of a town of Shechem. A town in Samaria near the well of Jacob. So this is how we found Ephraim. That's why we know it's Ephraim. Not because we don't, but when you don't use tools, you got to guess and come up with your own philosophy. Yeah, I don't want you to do that. He wants you to understand what's going on. So apostles he sent to the stranger and Judah and Ephraim. So it's the stranger Ephraim far, oh, that's far away, that's Hellenized, and Judah that was near, and that he might reconcile both unto Elohim in one body by the cross, having slain the enmity thereby. It has nothing to do with Hebrews and heathens. He's talking about these two brothers that got problems. In Ephesians chapter 2, he came and preached peace to you who were far away, and peace to those who were near. Ephraim was scattered all over, so he's far away, coming back to Jerusalem now. And then we know Judah was right there in the temple the whole time. They were near. For through him, we both have access to the Father by one Spirit. This has been going on since the time of David with them arguing and bickering between each other, trying to killing each other and acting a dang on fool. This ain't got nothing to do with no nations and Hebrews, man. This is all about his family. He trying to bring his children. He trying to bring back together. And then you got those proselytes that see it, they hear it, they understand it. Now they trying to get it too. That's all it is. But you can't take away what is from what is. Now, 11, Isaiah 11 and 13, the envy also of Ephraim shall depart, and the adversaries of Judah shall be cut off. Ephraim shall not envy Judah, and Judah shall not vex Ephraim. That's the problem they was having all through the scriptures. You see what Jeroboam did? Come on, y'all. But we're not going to understand this if we don't search this out. And I already have a lesson breaking that down, so I'm not going to go into that again. Now, for he is our peace, who have made both one and have broken down the middle wall of partition between us. So this never was. This is some Pharisees type of ascetic stuff. But you ain't clean compared to our standards. So you can't come. You come past this, then you could be killed. That never was in. It never was in Solomon's temple, and definitely wasn't in the tabernacle in the wilderness. See, this Gentile, this wall of petition that was settled by these devils. I will be the Elohim, they shall be my people. Ezekiel 37:15-28. Gonna go there and read. He gonna tell you exactly how. Matter of fact, we're gonna do that. Let me see, I'm gonna catch that because I know it's been too long. So I'm gonna stop here. We're gonna catch this on the way back. Oh yeah. Yes, sir. We ain't playing no games. So we'll be back for part 4. And I'm hoping you guys getting something out of this, but I try to make this as fast and simple as I possibly can. But again, it's not no mystery. There ain't nothing interchangeable. You just got to go find it and understand what's going on. Praise Yah that he's using us to try to help somebody. All right, we'll be back.